Close your eyes for a moment. Just for one moment. Think about the last time you tried to speak in English. Maybe it was at work. Maybe it was with a stranger. Maybe it was just in your head, practicing a sentence you never said out loud. What happened? Did the words come easily? Or did they stop inside your throat, like a door that would not open? Did you feel confident? Or did you feel small? Did you feel like you were not enough? I want to ask you something important today. And I want you to be honest with yourself. How long have you been learning English? 1 year, 3 years, maybe 5. And yet, something still feels missing. Something still feels heavy. Like you are carrying a bag that is too full. You are walking forward. But slowly, always slowly. Why is that? I will tell you why. Because most people learn English with their brain. But they forget to learn it with their heart. They memorize grammar rules. They study vocabulary lists. They watch videos and read textbooks. And yes, their English improves. A little. Slowly. Painfully. But real fluency, true, deep, natural fluency, that comes from somewhere else. It comes from stories. It comes from emotion. It comes from moments that make you feel something. And today on this channel, Narrative English, we are going to find that place together. This video is not just a language lesson. This is a journey for your English, and a journey for your life. Today we will walk through 6 chapters, 6 stories, 6 truths. Each one will teach you something about the English language, and each one will teach you something about yourself. So find a comfortable place, slow down your breathing, and listen carefully. Let the words sink into your mind. Let them settle. Because by the end of this video, something will be different. I promise you that. Are you ready? Then let us begin. There was once a boy named Rohan. He was 17 years old. He lived in a small town, a quiet town, the kind of town where everybody knew everybody. Rohan was not the smartest boy in school. He was not the most popular. But he had something rare. He had a voice that people loved to hear. Deep, warm, honest. The problem was, Rohan never used it. In class, when the teacher asked a question, Rohan looked down. He knew the answer. He always knew the answer. But his hand never went up. Why? Because Rohan was afraid. Not afraid of being wrong. He was afraid of something much worse. He was afraid of being judged. He was afraid that if he opened his mouth, people would hear his accent. They would hear his mistakes, and they would laugh. So he stayed silent. Day after day, month after month, he stayed silent. And here is the truth, the painful, important truth. Silence does not protect you. Silence buries you. Every day Rohan stayed quiet. He became a little smaller, a little less visible, a little less like himself. Does this sound familiar? Maybe you have done the same thing. Maybe you have swallowed your words. Maybe you have typed a message, then deleted it. Maybe you have started a sentence in English, and then switched back to your own language because it felt safer. I understand. I truly understand, but I want you to hear this today. Your voice, imperfect, accented, sometimes slow, sometimes searching for the right word. Your voice is not a weakness. It is proof that you are trying, and trying is everything. Step 1 scene today. Say one sentence out loud in English. Just one. It does not need to be perfect. It does not need to be clever. Say something simple. Say, I am learning. I am growing. I will not stop. Say it out loud. Right now, say it to yourself. Say it to the room. But say it. Step 2 every morning this week. Speak for 1 minute. Set a timer. Talk about your day. Talk about the weather. Talk about how you feel. Do not worry about mistakes. Just speak. Let your voice fill the room. Step 3D. Remember, fluency is not perfection. Fluency is movement. It is the courage to keep going even when your words are not exactly right. Listen to these words carefully. Let them sink into your mind. Your voice matters. Use it. Now I want to tell you about 2 rivers. 2 rivers that began in the same mountain. At the very same height. From the very same snow. The first river was called Mara, and Mara was always comparing herself to other rivers. She looked at the wide, powerful rivers in the valley below. She looked at their speed. She looked at their depth. And she thought, I am too small. I am too narrow. I will never be like them. So Mara stopped flowing. She stayed in one place, worried, still, afraid. The second river was called Kavi, and Kavi never looked sideways. Kavi only looked forward, over rocks, around trees, through valleys. She kept moving, always moving. Not because she was fast, but because she was faithful. 1 year later, Mara had become a swamp, dark, quiet, going nowhere. And Kavi had reached the sea. This story. This simple little story. This is the story of every English learner I have ever met. Because somewhere along your journey, you stopped looking at your own progress. And you started looking at someone else's. You saw a friend who speaks English fluently. You watched a YouTuber with a perfect accent. You heard a colleague switch between English and their language like breathing. And you thought, why am I not like that? Why is it so hard for me? And slowly, quietly, you became Mara. You stopped moving. The comparison became a wall. But here is what nobody tells you. That fluent friend, they made 10,000 mistakes before they got there. That YouTuber, they deleted hundreds of videos that were too broken, too imperfect, too raw to share. That colleague, they had nights of doubt, nights of silence, nights exactly like yours. You are not behind. You are just on a different part of the river. Listen to these words carefully. Let them sink into your mind. You are not in a race. You are on a journey. Step 1. Write down 3 things you could not say in English 6 months ago. 3 things you can say now. See the distance you have already traveled. It is real. It is yours. Step 2. Stop following people online who make you feel less than you are. Start following people who make you feel possible. Your mind absorbs what it sees. Feed it well. Step 3. Every time you feel the shadow of comparison, say this to yourself in English. My path is my own. My progress is real. I am enough. Repeat it. Believe it. There was an old teacher. She was famous in her village. People came from far away to learn from her. Young students, old professionals, everyone wanted her wisdom. One day a young man came to her door. His name was Daniel. He was educated. Well, read. He had studied at a good university. He had already read 10 books on the subject he wanted to learn. He sat across from the teacher, and before she could even speak, he began talking. He told her everything he already knew. Every theory, every idea, every conclusion he had already made. The teacher smiled. She poured him a cup of tea. She kept pouring. The tea reached the top of the cup, and she kept pouring. The tea spilled onto the table, onto the floor. Still, she kept pouring. Daniel jumped back. Stop! The cup is full! It cannot hold any more. The teacher looked at him calmly. You are like this cup, she said. You are so full of what you already know. There is no room for anything new. She put down the teapot. Empty your cup, and then we can begin. I want you to think about that today. When you sit down to learn English, what is your cup full of? Maybe it is full of old beliefs. I am too old to learn a language. I missed my chance. My accent is too strong. My grammar is too broken. Maybe it is full of old methods. The translation method, where you hear English and immediately translate it in your head into your own language. That method makes you slow. It makes you hesitant. It keeps a wall between you and real fluency. Or maybe your cup is full of fear. And fear, as we know, leaves no room for growth. Empty your cup. Come to English with open hands. Come with curiosity. Come like a child who hears a new word for the first time and thinks, oh, how wonderful. Because that curiosity, that openness, that is the secret door to language acquisition. Listen to these words carefully. Let them sink into your mind. Learning begins the moment you let go of what you think you know. Step 1. When you listen to English today, try not to translate. Just listen. Feel the rhythm. Feel the emotion. Let meaning come to you naturally, the way music comes to you, even when you do not know all the words. Step 2. Pick one thing about English that confuses you. One grammar point. One type of sentence. And instead of avoiding it, get curious about it. Ask, why does English do this? What is the story behind this rule? Step 30. Write at the top of a page these words: I am a beginner again. Not because you have gone back, but because beginners are brave enough to not know things. And bravery is always the first step. There was a man who was terrified of the dark. Every night, when the lights went out, he froze. His heart raced. His breathing became short. He could not move. He could not sleep. People gave him advice. Just close your eyes. It is the same with the lights off as with the lights on. He tried that. It did not work. Think of something happy, they said. He tried that too. Still, the fear came. One evening, his old grandfather came to visit. He sat beside the man, and he said very gently, "Walk into the dark room. Just one step. That is all I ask." The man trembled. But he took one step into the dark. Nothing happened. "Now one more," said the grandfather. One more step, trembling, afraid, but moving. "Now one more." And slowly, step by step, the man crossed the dark room. And when he reached the other side and turned on the light, he realized something. The dark had not hurt him. He had been afraid of something that could not harm him. This is what speaking English in public feels like, is it not? The moment before you open your mouth, the heart races. The mind goes blank. You think, what if I say it wrong? What if they do not understand me? What if they judge me? And so you retreat back into the safety of silence. But I want you to hear this clearly today. On the other side of that fear, there is fluency. Not at the end of a grammar book, not at the end of 100 vocabulary lessons, but on the other side of every small, trembling, imperfect attempt you make to use the language. Each time you speak, even badly, you cross the dark room, and the room gets a little less dark, and you get a little less afraid. Listen to these words carefully. Let them sink into your mind. The only way through fear is through. Step 1. Find one opportunity this week to speak English with a real person. A shopkeeper, a classmate, a language exchange partner online. One conversation. That is your goal. One conversation. Step 2. Before the conversation, breathe slowly. Say to yourself in English, I am prepared. I am capable. I am going. These words will slow your heartbeat. They will steady your voice. Step 3. After the conversation, no matter how it went, write down this sentence. I did it. I spoke. I moved. That is your victory. Celebrate it. You crossed the dark room. I want to tell you about a woman named Amara. She lived alone on a small piece of land outside a dusty town. The land was difficult. The soil was hard. The sun was too strong. The rain never came at the right time. Every spring, Amara planted seeds. And every year, many of them died. Her neighbors said to her, Amara, why do you keep trying? The land is not good. Nothing will grow here. But Amara kept planting. Year after year. She watered the dry patches. She added new soil. She moved plants to better light. She learned from every failure. She adjusted. She tried again. In her 7th year, the garden bloomed. Not a little. Enormously. Magnificently. Like a garden that had been saving all its energy for that one extraordinary year. Her neighbors came to see, and Amara smiled quietly. She said, the seeds were always ready. The land was always ready. I just had to be patient enough to stay. I want to speak to you now about consistency. Because this is the one word, more than fluency, more than grammar, more than accent. This is the one word that will change everything for your English. Consistency. Not intensity. Not studying 10 hours one day and then nothing for 2 weeks. Not watching 50 English videos in a weekend and then stopping because life gets busy. But showing up. Every day. Even for 10 minutes. Even when you are tired. Even when you feel like you are not improving. Even when the soil looks dry and the sky looks empty. Because language acquisition works like a garden. You do not see the roots growing. You do not see the deep invisible work happening underground. But it is happening. Every word you hear. Every sentence you read, every conversation you attempt, it is going into the soil of your mind, building quietly, growing slowly, and one day, you will open your mouth and the words will come. Not perfectly, but naturally. And you will think, where did that come from? It came from the soil. From all those quiet, consistent, faithful days. Listen to these words carefully. Let them sink into your mind. You do not see growth while it is happening. But it is always happening. Step 1: Teen, commit to 10 minutes of English every single day for the next 30 days. Not more, not less. 10 minutes. Put it in your phone. Set an alarm. Protect that time like it is precious, because it is. Step 2: Create what I call your English garden, a small notebook. Every day, write one new word you heard, one sentence that moved you, one moment where you used English and felt proud. Small entries but faithful ones. Step 3: On the days you feel like giving up, read back through your notebook. See what you have already planted. Feel the roots beneath your feet. And then, pick up your pen and plant something new. Now I want to talk to you about something that most English teachers will never teach you. And that is this: the fastest road to fluency is not through grammar. It is through story. Let me explain. Think about the languages you already know. Your mother tongue. Perhaps another language from your childhood. How did you learn those languages? Nobody sat you down at age 2 and taught you the present perfect tense. Nobody gave you a vocabulary list and said, memorize these 500 words before Friday. You learned through experience, through people, through stories, through emotion. Your mother told you a story before bed. You heard the rhythm of it. You felt the warmth of it. And slowly, naturally, without effort, the words became yours. This is called immersive learning. And it is the most powerful method of language acquisition that exists. When you hear a story, your brain does something extraordinary. It does not process language as data. It processes language as experience. It activates the same parts of your brain that fire when you are actually living the situation. When you hear the words, he was tired, he was cold, he had been walking for hours. You do not just understand those words intellectually. You feel them. Your brain creates images. Your body responds. The language becomes part of you. This is why, every day, you should listen to English stories. Not grammar lessons, not vocabulary drills. Stories. Narratives. Voices telling you about human experience in simple, clear, emotional language. This channel, Narrative English, exists for exactly this reason. To give you stories. To give you language wrapped in life. And today, right now, as you listen to my voice, you are doing it. You are learning. You are absorbing, quietly, naturally, the way water absorbs into dry earth. Listen to these words carefully. Let them sink into your mind. You are not studying English right now. You are living inside it. Step 1. Every day this week, find an English story, a podcast, an audiobook, a video like this one, and just listen. Not to study, not to take notes, just to be inside the language. Let it surround you. Let it become familiar like a favorite room. Step 20. After listening, retell the story. Out loud. In your own words. In English. It does not matter if your version is shorter. It does not matter if you forget parts. The act of retelling, that is the magic. That is where the language moves from your ears into your mouth. Step 3. Find your emotional connection to English. Ask yourself, why does this language matter to me? Maybe it is a dream, a career, a relationship, a country you want to visit. Find that feeling. Carry it with you. Because emotion is the greatest memory tool in the world. When you feel something, you remember it. Always. I want to tell you about a scientist. Her name was Dr. Alina. She worked in a research laboratory for over 20 years. She was studying a very specific problem, one that nobody had been able to solve. Every year, her experiments failed. Her colleagues moved on to other projects. Her funding was nearly gone. Her reputation was at risk. Everyone around her was quietly suggesting she should stop. But Dr. Elena kept a record. In a thick red notebook, she wrote down every single experiment that had failed, not to remember the pain, but to remember the lesson. She wrote, "Experiment 127 failed. Here is what I learned." And then she wrote the lesson, year after year, failure after failure, lesson after lesson. In her 23rd year, she solved the problem. When journalists asked her how she felt about all the years of failure, she paused. Then she smiled. She held up her red notebook. "These are not records of failure," she said. "These are records of learning. Every mistake in this book was a door that opened. I just had to walk through it." I want you to hear that today. Every mistake you make in English, every wrong verb tense, every mispronounced word, every sentence that comes out crooked and confused, every single one of them is a door opening. We have been taught to be ashamed of mistakes. We have been taught that getting it wrong means something is wrong with us. That a mistake in public is a humiliation. That an accent is something to hide. But this is simply not true. Mistakes are not the enemy of fluency. Mistakes are the engine of fluency. The brain learns language through error correction. When you say something wrong and then hear it said correctly, your brain lights up. A new pathway forms. A new connection is made. The correct version goes deeper than any textbook rule ever could. This is why speaking, even badly, is 10 times more powerful than studying in silence. And this is why your mistakes are not something to be embarrassed about. They are something to be grateful for. Listen to these words carefully. Let them sink into your mind. Every mistake is a step forward disguised as a step back. Step 1 teen this week. Make a beautiful mistake. On purpose. Take a risk with English. Try a sentence structure you have never tried before. Use a word you are not quite sure about. Get it wrong, and then look up the right way. That process, that moment of trying and correcting, that is pure learning. Step 20. When you make a mistake in conversation, do not apologize and go silent. Simply correct yourself. Say, "Sorry, and continue. This is what native speakers do. Constantly. Fluency is not the absence of mistakes. It is the ability to keep moving through them. Step 3. At the end of each week, write in your notebook the most interesting mistake you made in English. Write what you said. Write what you meant to say. Write what the correct version is. Make it a game. Make it something you look forward to. And now we come to our final chapter. I want to paint you a picture. Imagine a mountain. It is tall. Not impossibly tall, but tall enough to take your breath away when you look up at it. The path to the top winds and disappears into clouds. You cannot see the peak from where you stand. At the bottom of the mountain, there is a young man named Samuel. Samuel has been staring at this mountain for 3 years. He has bought the right boots. He has read the guidebooks. He has watched videos of other people climbing. He knows the theory. He knows the steps. He knows what the view from the top looks like, because he has seen photographs. But he has never taken a single step onto the path, because the mountain looks too big, and he is afraid of how long it will take, and he is not sure he is ready. Does this sound familiar? The mountain is your English fluency, and perhaps you have been standing at the bottom, staring up, waiting until you feel ready. But here is the truth I want to leave you with today. You will never feel ready. Readiness is not a feeling. Readiness is a decision. You decide, today, I begin. Not when my grammar is better. Not when I have more confidence. Not when life slows down and I have more time. Today. Right now. Because the mountain does not get smaller by looking at it. It only gets smaller by climbing it. And Samuel, when he finally stepped onto the path, he discovered something extraordinary. The first step was the hardest. Everything after that, each step was lighter than the last. Because momentum is real. Because progress builds on itself. Because confidence is not something you find before you begin. It is something you build as you go. Halfway up the mountain, Samuel sat down on a rock and looked back at where he had come from. He could no longer see the starting point. He could not see the top either. He was in the middle. That uncomfortable, unglamorous, beautiful middle, where all real growth happens. And he felt something he had not felt in years. He felt alive. This is where I want you to be, not at the bottom, waiting. Not paralyzed by the distance, but on the path, moving, breathing, learning. One sentence at a time, one conversation at a time, one imperfect, brave, beautiful attempt at a time. Listen to these words carefully. Let them sink into your mind. You are not waiting for the journey to begin. You are already on it. We are near the end of today's journey, and I want to speak to you now, not as a teacher, not as a mentor, but as someone who believes in you. I do not know your name. I do not know where you are watching this from. I do not know how many times you have tried and felt like you failed. I do not know how many times the words did not come. How many times you felt invisible in a room where everyone else seemed so comfortable in this language. But I know this. You are here. You chose this video. You stayed with me through 8 chapters, through 8 stories, through 8 small truths. And that, in itself, tells me everything I need to know about you. You have not given up, and that is the most important quality a learner can have. Not intelligence, not talent, not even time. Just this, the quiet, stubborn refusal to give up. Remember Rohan, the boy who never raised his hand? He found his voice. One quiet morning, in a classroom where nobody expected him to speak. He raised his hand. He said the answer. His voice trembled. It was imperfect, but it filled the room. And he never looked down again. Remember Amara and her garden, the neighbors who laughed, the dry seasons, the years of invisible work. The flowers still came. They always come. Remember the mountain. Remember Samuel. Remember that readiness is a decision, not a feeling. And remember this? The version of you that speaks English fluently, naturally, beautifully. That version of you is not some distant fantasy. That version of you is the one who keeps showing up. Every day. Even when it is hard. Even when progress feels invisible. Even on the quiet mornings when you sit alone with a cup of tea and practice sentences to an empty room. That version of you is being built. Right now, in the invisible spaces between effort and rest, between speaking and listening, between who you are today and who you are becoming. You are not behind. You are not too old. You are not too far gone. You are, exactly, where you are supposed to be, and the next step, it is right in front of you. Take it. I want to leave you today with one final story. There was once a very old man who sat by a river every evening. A young girl used to walk past him on her way home from school. One day she stopped and asked him, "Old man, why do you sit here every day and watch the river? What do you see?" The old man smiled. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "I watch the river because it teaches me the only lesson worth knowing." The girl sat beside him. "What lesson is that?" she asked. He pointed to the water. "The river does not stop for the rocks. It does not stop for the winter. It does not stop for the drought. It finds a way. Always. It finds a way. And eventually, always, always eventually, it reaches the sea." The girl watched the river for a long time. Then she understood. She was the river. And so, my friend, are you. You are the river. You will meet rocks. You will meet cold seasons. You will meet moments where the path forward is not clear, but you will find the way. You always do. Fluency is not the destination. It is the river itself, and you are already flowing. This is Narrative English. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Thank you for your patience, for your open heart, for your willingness to sit with these stories and let them mean something. Keep your notebook close. Keep your voice ready. Keep your heart open to the language and to the life it will bring you. Until next time, keep learning. Keep growing. Keep going.